G'day guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back for another episode of Wasteland Survival. So in last week's episode I finished up by building these two little custom turrets. So I think today what I want to do is focus on basically just pimping out the base with all these new blocks that have been added into the game. So what I'm going to do is most likely go ahead and replace a lot of these guns with other stuff. So I'm not exactly sure which configuration I want, whether or not I want turrets such as this, or if I want to just put in the standard turrets, which are these ones here. So these big ones, the assault cannon turrets and then the artillery turrets. I think I'll go with a mixture of all three. And I may even get rid of all of the missile turrets as well. But the first thing I want to kind of do on this episode is get rid of this ridiculous looking leg and then just kind of replace it with that part there that looks about the same as that. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to leave everything else exactly the same, but I'm just going to get rid of these blocks here. So let's grind these out. Okay, well everything is ground down, so let's go ahead and place in our half blocks. So we'll just grab these half blocks here like this, place them all the way along there like that. I guess I could just use like full blocks here, but I think I'll just stick with half blocks and make it like exactly the same as the other side, or sorry, the top of the roof. So then we will grab our half beam blocks and we'll place those in there like that. And then from there I just need to add in these blocks here, so just these 2x1 tips on this side, place all those in and then go ahead and weld all of this stuff up. So yeah, I think this just looks 10 times better than what the other, I don't know, the other arrangement with the leg. It just didn't look right to me. So but you know, let me know what you guys think. Did you like the leg or did you hate it like I do? So yeah, let's weld this up and then I'll be back. Alright guys, well as you can see I've welded all this up and I think it's looking pretty good. So if I push my character back a little bit, yeah, I think with the addition of the sunken down floor, which is this layer of blocks here, also this layer of blocks, and then this little part here at the top, I feel as if the control tower looks really well supported. So I think I'm 99% done with this thing. There's not really any other major changes I want to make to this tower. The only other small little changes I kind of want to make are the following. So if we head on inside, what I ended up doing was placing these blocks here in in the middle, but I think what I would like to do is place these blocks on the outside. So that means that I'm going to have to reprogram these with my weapons all over again, but you know, there isn't, I kind of want to make it look right. And if you guys remember in the last episode I mentioned about this issue here with this room not sealing. So here it is. You can see that the room, it is, you know, fully sealed, but yeah, that air vent thinks that it's not. So if I enter and exit this door and then I go and do the exact same thing on the other side, then all of a sudden the room pressurizes. So like I said in the previous episode, these doors are a little bit bugged, and if you ever come across that issue, then that is what is causing the problem. I could use the new doors that were added into the game here on this side, but then it would mean that I've got to redo these sensors, so I don't know if I'm too keen to do that. But anyway, as I was saying, I want to move these two blocks to the corners here, and then replace them with these blocks here. I want to go ahead and change all these screens, and then also what I want to do is put the projection of the Pilgrim and the Atlas through these control blocks, because yeah, that's something I want to do for ages. And then also I want to change the screens on all of these blocks here. So that's going to take me actually a fair while to do off camera, but I'm not going to bore you with that, because I could easily make a 1-hour recording just doing all of that stuff. But yeah, I'm sure you guys don't want to see me modifying screens and moving blocks around for the next hour or so. So anyway, I'm going to go away and do all of that. that off camera, and then we can get started with pimping out the base with all the new blocks that were added in the Warfare 2 update. So I will see you guys in a moment. Alright guys, well here we are back in the world. As you can see, I've moved these blocks here to the corners. So I've decided to face them the other way because it kind of doesn't really make sense them facing the other way. So I think they look alright. I've gone ahead, I've changed this image here, this image, but I've left these two the same as they are, and then I've also reconnected these up to the turrets that are on the roof. Also what I've done is I've set up all of these ones as well, and I've gone ahead and I've placed in the blueprints for the ships here. Now for some reason, the Pilgrim's blueprint, like when I try and project it through this block here, it ends up being like actually outside. So I'm not sure what that's about. I think, yeah, I don't know what's going on with the blueprint for that ship, but for some reason it spawns outside the control tower, and no matter how much I try and pull it back in, I can't actually get it to be on this table. So instead what I decided to do was just place the blueprint for the Nomad there. So yeah, so far I think it's looking pretty good. Now what I was going to do was go ahead and actually individually set up all of these control seats here, but I mean, as you can see, there's 6 of them, so I figured like that was going to take me forever. So instead, what I've gone ahead and done is out here, I've gone ahead and I've set up a control seat like this. And I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to create a blueprint of this control seat, and then I'm just going to use a projector to project it to wherever I want it to. Ooh. Let's go see what is in this unknown signal. So yeah, what I'm going to do is basically project that blueprint into the control tower and just weld up the seat so that I don't need to go in and set up 5 screens on 6 different seats, which will just take me absolutely forever. So I think that would be a much smarter way to do it. Let's see what is in here. So we'll put our auto dampeners on here. And we've got that and that, and let's see if we can push the button. What do we get? Ah, Badger rifle. Already got one, but hey, that's alright. Alright, so I'll turn my auto dampeners off. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and, yeah, paste in that blueprint and get all these things welded up. But I'm not going to bore you with that, guys, and I shall be back in a moment. So here we are in the control tower, and what I've done is I've set up a projector here. Now I've already welded up this one here, but I'll just kind of demonstrate how this works. So you simply just grind it away, and then the blueprint comes back, and then you just weld it up. And then all the screens change, so they're all set up exactly the way that I want, and then all I need to do is just move it to all these different positions. Okay, and the interior of the control tower is now finally finished. So what I decided to do was add in some of these new helm blocks, and when you control these, then I think you get a pretty good view of what's going on down there. So I think, yeah, this block works out quite nicely. And obviously on the sides here I just left the control seats the way they are, but yeah, I think I'm pretty much finished with messing around with this whole setup. So what I want to do now is go ahead and modify these. Where is the sun? Yeah, it's going to be dark soon, but hopefully I can get at least one of these done pretty quickly. So what I want to do obviously is modify these little installations here. So what I was thinking of doing is grabbing one of the large artillery cannons and placing that here. So one of these ones here. Only thing is that the little bits kind of pop out the side. So yeah, it's not really ideal. I kind of would... what happens when I place it there? So I think it almost occupies a full block, that leg there, but I think what I'll do is I'll just place it there anyway, and then we can just modify the blocks underneath a bit later. Maybe instead what I can do is just make these like these blocks here. Let's grind these out and see what we can do to make this look a little bit better, because I don't really want these little leg pieces kind of sticking out, but I think I have an idea on how I can get this to work. So I think what I'll do is just place down 4 regular blocks here, like that, and then we can go ahead and weld these ones up. And then from here what we can do is we can place in some of these blocks here, just like what we did on that control tower over there, or the satellite dish, I should say. So maybe I can go for some round ones this time. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. We'll go for some round ones of these, and hopefully that will look pretty good. I could change the blocks in the middle for these beam blocks as well, but I don't think that will look any good, because obviously then you'll be able to see the conveyor junctions. So yeah, I don't think that looks too bad. In fact, I wonder if there is actually a beam block that will fully block that that conveyor junction. What sort of beam block can I put in there? Yeah, see, I could put in one of these blocks like that, and you do still see the conveyor, but you can't really see it that much. So maybe that is the way to go. I'm not sure, but I guess it doesn't really matter too much. It's more of a just like general aesthetic thing. Yes, I really would like to hide that conveyor a bit more and make use of these beam blocks. That's right, let's worry about that later. So let's go ahead and we will place down our artillery turret. So I will weld that and then add the rest of the components to my build planner. And let us hope that I do not run out of fuel here. Wow, it actually takes quite a few components, this thing, to build. I didn't realize that when I was kind of testing these in creative mode. But then again, I guess you don't, because, you know, obviously it's in creative mode. So cool, and that's complete. Now, I did have to make quite a few trips back and forth to get that done. But yeah, I mean, it's just like requires so many components. It's pretty crazy. What I will do though is, does this thing have a control panel on it? I would like to turn off the automatic rotation, because I don't know, it kind of bothers me when they're not all straight. So let's find the artillery turret and let's set the full range to that, and let's turn off idle movement. Now, I think what I'm going to do on the sides here is I am going to replace these with the new autocannon weapons, because I want a heavy piece of weaponry in the front. I don't really want to put a railgun there, because yeah, railguns are just a bit overkill for my liking. Well, at least I think they're overkill for this purpose. So let's see if I can... I need to empty this turret of all of its ammunition. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to grind it away, and then we'll just pick up the ammo and then put it back into the conveyor system here. So let's well, first of all, let's see if I can weld up this gun here. I don't think I will be able to, because I'm pretty sure I won't have enough components to get that done. But before I finish welding that, what I'll do is I'll actually turn off the idle movement, and we will set the AI aiming radius to 800. We'll turn that off, and one way you can get these things to recenter without having to reload the game is you can just simply change the color of them. So if I hit Shift P and then recolor it, then it just pops back to its normal orientation, which is pretty weird, but hey, I guess it works. So let's weld that up, or let's recolor it, I should say. And yeah, so far I think that looks pretty good. And then we will just weld this up, and I'll have to do many trips for that as well. And then here, I think what I'm going to do is place in my little hinge turrets like these ones here. And I think I will go with auto cannons, and maybe these ones here I will change these to railguns. But so I guess if I'm under attack, then I can come into the control tower, and then I can control these guns here and then fire them manually, because they do have a range of 2 kilometers. Whereas because these ones will be kind of engaging the target first, then I think I'll change those ones up there to autocannons. Now the only problem with these cannons here is I actually added up all of the PCU that is required to build this whole setup, and it's somewhere like 850, so it's not fantastic, but yeah, like it's not great in PCU usage, but I think I should be okay because of the fact that, you know, my computer's fairly decent, and I don't think I've got any sim speed issues at the moment. Let's just check. Yeah, the FPS is pretty low, but the sim speed is still fine, so I think I should be fine to use these, especially if they're all the way up there. I don't think the computer's going to render them, so yeah. What I'll do is I'll get a whole bunch of components in my weld ship, and then I'll use that to weld all these things up. Otherwise it is going to take me forever. And I think also what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable the mod, what's the one that Splitsy plays with? It's the one that basically spawns little bases everywhere and then sends little drones after you, because it is getting to be a little bit too quiet on this world, and the Reavers don't seem to be attacking at all, which is kind of a good thing and kind of a bad thing. It's good in the sense where I don't have to constantly repair things, but it's bad in the sense where there's just no action happening. So yeah, I think I will use the modular encounter spawner and the assertive installations mod. So in between now and the next part, I will probably load that mod. Alright guys, welcome back. So as you can see, I've placed all of these weapons down. So we have our assault cannons and we have our artillery here in the middle. Now I went ahead and I actually changed up this whole setup to be just these 45-degree angle beam blocks, because I think they look 10 times better than the than the circular ones. I just didn't think that these circular ones kind of fit within this shape, because you have all these crazy angles and then all of a sudden you've got like a circle up here and it just didn't look right. So I think this looks 10 times better. Also what I went ahead and done was I actually put a conveyor sorter in the middle here, so it kind of hides the pipe work. Now I was tempted to put in, like, you know, you could do something like one of these blocks here, one of these blocks, but you know, either way you put it, you're either going to see the conveyor on the bottom, or if you put it like that, then it's going to look a tiny bit weird when you, so what I ended up doing was going for a conveyor sorter, and also I think the conveyor sorter is kind of a little bit more durable because it has a few more components in it than, let's say, just a regular conveyor tube. So if we have a look at a conveyor pipe and then we have a look at the conveyor sorter, you can see that this has many more components in it, so hopefully that means that it is a lot more durable as well. So also I've been playing around with this new army camo skin that they've got. I think, what's it called, the forest camo skin or something like that. Let's have a look. Yeah, Woodland camo armor. So yeah, been playing around with that, and I think, yeah, I don't know, it does look pretty good, although I would like it to be a little bit darker brown. But I don't know if it really fits with the theme of everything else. Nonetheless, I still think the skin looks cool, and I'm really glad that they've added that to the game. Now, what I need to do is, before I start setting up these custom turrets, I actually need to figure out where I'm going to place these blocks here. So if we open up these custom turret blocks, so obviously I could get rid of, let's say, I could just place it there, right? So if we go there, but then the only problem is that it's really only protected by this one block here. So if I get rid of that block, then it's only really protected by like a 2x1 slope, which is not really ideal. So I think what I'm going to do is, let's replace this block back. So we'll place in our 2x1 tip. I'll weld that up, and then what I'll do is probably about here, so we'll go 2 blocks deep, so right about here, and then underneath this conveyor pipe I'm going to grind out this steel block, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place my block there. Yes, you won't really be able to access it easily, but at the same time I can always kind of access that block from somewhere else. So maybe one of the control panels on, you know, another section of the build. 6 detected components. So what I'll do is I'll withdraw 2 of these, and then we will go ahead and I'll place 1 down. So let's find these blocks. I should really move them somewhere else. It is a shame that they are underneath the programmable blocks. I would have thought that they would be under something else. So can we access this from here? Yes, we can. So we'll call this the rear one. So I will exit out of that, and then we will put one in the exact same location, but obviously here. So let's get rid of this block down here, and let's find our block once more, and we will place one there like that. And hopefully this should be relatively well protected where it is. I don't think it will be fully protected, of course, but it will be more protected than, you know, yeah, being right on the edge. So hopefully it won't get damaged too much. Okay, so now let's call this one the turret controller front. Awesome. Alright, now what I want to do is just go ahead and replace all of my blocks. So let's grab some steel plates. I'll grab a few more. Maybe that's enough. No, that's alright. That'll do. So hopefully that's enough. And what I did is I put a connector here because when I was transporting the ammunition for this thing, the ammo is so large. Like if I go into here and we have a look at the ammo. So go into inventory and the artillery shell. Look at that. Just 4 of those is, you know, 400 liters. So they're 100 liters of shells, so I can really only store, you know, like 20 shells on me, and trying to ferry them up and down, and especially with all this stuff here, because obviously these bottles take up 120 liters of my storage, so I could only pretty much carry about 14 of these shells at a time. So what I ended up doing is placing them in the back of the weld ship, and then just using the weld ship to actually move them up. Because obviously this is all large conveyors from the front to the back, and then, you know, all the cargo containers sit here on the side. You can actually move everything into this setup really easily. So I think what I'll do for the next one though is I will build all of the turrets first, get all the components, cram them into the weld ship, and then after that I'll do an ammo run for each installation. The only problem is it's really going to take me a while to do this, but I guess, you know, obviously we'll do this first one, and then after that I'll do the rest of them off camera. But yeah, it is going to take me a crazy amount of time. So anyway, enough blabbering about that. Let's place our block back like that, and then what I want to do is do the same over here. I will probably place a block there. I'm not sure if I did that on the other side, but I will do that here anyway. And I think maybe, depending on how bad this assertive installation mod is and how many enemies are spawning at me, I may change a lot of this stuff, or at least the top layer, to heavy armor. But I guess we will see how we go. And oh, by the way, with the assertive installation mod, as of the 1.2 version of Space Engineers, which is the one that added all these lovely guns, and which is also known as the Warfare 2 update, apparently it is not working anymore. So I don't know if that is true or if, yeah, so hopefully Splitsy goes ahead and he actually fixes that pretty soon, because I would really love to see these guns in action. And probably not necessarily against Reavers either. Alright, so I will place in my block here as well. So that I think needs to be this color, which is fine. And then what I'm going to do is here I'm going to place in a conveyor. No, I'm going to get rid of this little piece here, which I can't. So hang on, have I got... Yeah, I've got one of them over there as well. Alright, let me empty my inventory. I will withdraw... No, we'll go with one of these. 8 again. Wait, what? Yeah, let's withdraw the components for a couple of conveyor junctions, and I will get rid of this conveyor pipe. I will do the same on the rear, and then underneath that I will put a conveyor junction, although I should really place a block here, so maybe I will do that as well. Let's make that large grid and withdraw that, and I should probably place a block there for some added protection. Let's do that, weld that up, and then in here what we can do is place our conveyor, and then on the top of this will be our rotor, and then on top of that will obviously be our hinge turret. Now, as I said, I think I'm going to go with autocannons here, so we'll have a wide range of fire coming out of these turrets. So obviously we'll have this really large gun which is going to fire massive shells, and I believe the reload time of this thing is like 12 seconds. Then we'll have this one which will be kind of like the medium sized gun with a reload time of like 6 seconds. After each barrel fires, 6 seconds after both of the barrels fire, so it will get 2 shots off. And then in the middle here we'll have our constant firing from our autocannons, so that'll be good for, like, you know, really small ships like fighters and things like that. This will be good for larger ships, and the same with these ones. These will be like kind of in between the two, so I think that will give me a relatively good selection of different types of weaponry. And yeah, I don't really think I need any missiles. I was tempted to leave the Gatling guns, but I definitely think that I want to go for these instead. So what I'll do though is I'm actually going to add some advanced rotors to my build planner and 2 advanced rotor parts, and then I don't have to fight with this thing, because every time you try and middle click withdraw components from the back of a small grid ship, it just automatically changes it to small grid. So I guess it really doesn't matter which way this thing is facing, but we'll have 0 degrees at the front, I guess, and then we will do that. Another weird thing is I've noticed, and I don't know why it is this way, but these rotors, the rotor parts always seem to be the default color. Like, they're never colored in the correct color, if that makes sense. Wait, is that? Oh, that's just a standard rotor. That's not what I want. Alright, let's get rid of that and let's put in the correct rotor. Okay, so we want our advanced rotor. That's better. I'll just place it like that. I'm not too worried about the orientation, and then I'll place another one on this side as well. So let's go and weld these 2 up. Okay, so they're both welded up. I'll change the color of the top rotor part, and realistically I should have done that with the one over there as well, that's sitting on the control tower, but hey, you know what. So yeah, alright, let's try and build at least one of these on camera. So I want this part of the hinge to be at the back. I also want it to be at the back here, and we'll get rid of that part there, that part, and then next to that I'm going to build just a rotor, a regular rotor. Can I build that there? No, I don't think I can. Oh, I need steel plates for that. Alright, well, let's add a advanced rotor. It doesn't really need to be an advanced rotor to the build planner, but we'll do it anyway. Let's withdraw some components for that, and then I will just place one without even welding it up, because I don't really need to. So I'm going to place one there, and then also one there, and then from there what we can do is, actually I think I do need to weld these up, because I need to add a small head to these. Can I do that without it actually being welded up? Let's see if I can. So what have we got? We've got our advanced rotor, add small head, and add small head. Oh, fantastic, we can actually do that. Oh, that's awesome. That means I don't really need to weld the whole thing up. And then from there we'll put some blocks out like that, and I will go probably, yeah, that should be far enough. And then from there we can place in our small hinge part. So we'll try and get under there to do that. And then we'll just replicate the same process over this side. So a couple of blocks going this way, and then underneath that I will place in one of these, and then finally my little hinge part. Like that. Okay, so then we just got to weld up these hinges and then put in everything else. I think I may modify the design a little bit compared to the one that's down there on the control tower, because I think I can improve it and make it look a little bit better, but I guess we will see how we go. Okay, so that's all that stuff is now welded up, and let's try and squeeze through here and use this control panel here on the what is this thing called? The sorter block. Where is the control panel actually? There it is. Okay, so let's find our hinge, and then we will attach this one as well. Okay, cool. So from here then I can start designing my turrets. So what I'll do is I'll probably play around with this a little bit off camera, and once I've figured out the design for it, I'll be back and I'll show you guys what I've built. I guess the only real thing I want to change, I'll just go through this quickly actually. Where's this control tower? So I guess the only thing I really want to change is I want to move this barrel here to be at the front there, so it's kind of yeah, so the barrels kind of go with the same contour as what the ball turret does, if that kind of makes sense. So it's just a small little change, but I still think it will make it look a lot better. So alright, I'll see you guys in a moment. Alright guys, welcome back. So as you can see, I've got the first turret done, and all I really need to do at this point is do the second turret. But what I am going to do though is I'm going to rename all of these guns here to the front gun camera, the front gun hinge, and also like the front gun rotor. But I'll probably do all of that off camera. Now, the main kind of issue I've got with this thing is it just takes a really long time to build. So I think one way I can kind of streamline that process is to like create a blueprint of this part here, and then just go ahead and like print off however many of these I need. I think I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I think that's about all that I need. So I need about 9 of those, but I think I'll build them down there where I have access to my cargo, and then yeah, just kind of print them off. So I'll have to build kind of one off of a rotor, take a blueprint of that, and then just like, yeah, basically build a whole heap more of those. So I think we'll go down and we'll build one of these, just the top part, because I mean the rotor itself and everything like that is pretty easy to build, but I guess the rest of it is pretty time consuming and hard to build. Also, I've been messing around with designs for a kind of a ball turret but with spotlights to kind of replace these, because I was really hoping that the new blocks would kind of serve that function, but yeah, they're not really going to. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to go for something like that. But alright, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll place down a rotor. I'm going to get rid of the head off this one. We're going to add that to our build planner, and then we're going to weld this thing up. And then what we're going to do is find our rotor in the control panel, and I will add a small head. And then what I'm going to do from here is basically put a large line of blocks all the way across. So I think I'll have to go probably not that far, but I'll have to go pretty far to get these things built. See if I can get this right. So I need some more steel plates, but I think that should be enough to get us started. And then what I'll do is I'll withdraw a couple of steel plates here, then we'll find our small conveyor junctions, so we'll grab a whole heap of those. Then I will find my little guns here, so we want the autocannon, so grab a few of those, and let's start building from here. So I think what I'll do is I will go out to this point here, and then we can start building from there. But I really need to grab this color up here, so I'll quickly go and do that. Okay, so I've got my color sorted out now. So now what I want to do is I probably want to build the middle gun. So I'll build the middle gun hanging off this here. So we will place that there. And then from there, what we need here is we need our... So we need to grab our little conveyor junctions. So I'll grab one like that. And I basically just place them in a big circle. So I probably actually need to go one block further out. So let's get rid of all this again. I know, kind of wasting time, but hey, that's okay. Alright, now let's build it from here. So I'll place one block down there. Right, let's place this down. Then let's place down our small conveyor, which is this block here. And we'll go all the way across like that. And I'll just create like a square kind of circle type deal. In fact, no, I need to go from this point. What am I doing? Let's grind these away then. Okay, cool. So I've got these guns here sorted out. So now what I want to do is grab my little conveyors again. Place one there, one there, one there. One there like that. And then another one like, oh come on, just attach, will ya? There we go. And then like that in a big circle. And then what I want to do from there is find my guns once more. We want to place one there, one there, one there, and then also the exact same thing but on the other side. So we'll place it like that. And then from there, what we're going to do is grab our small hinge part. And we'll grab our small little hinge part and we'll place that in there like that. And then from here what we can do is put in all of our little armor blocks. But first I'll weld all of this up. Okay, so everything is welded up now. So now what we got to do is just put in our little steel blocks. So we'll place in some like that. I'll quickly weld these ones up because they're going to be kind of stuck in the middle. And then, whoops, then we just place all of our blocks down here like this. Get over that bar. Place these here. And then from there I need to grab my 2x1 slopes, which will go like this. So we'll place a line of those along there, and then also a line of those along the bottom. Then we'll just grab our half blocks like that. I got no steel plates. Alright, let's keep trying to do this. So we'll place our blocks there like that. And then from here we will use our 2x1 tips once more. So I'll place a line of those there like that. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to place a half block. So, but this needs to be this color here. So we'll place that down, and then from there I'll be able to place my tips, which I'll make this color. So I'll place a tip there, and then from there what we can do is grab our other blocks like that. And then from here what we're going to do is grab a 2x1 base, and we are going to make it this color here, and we're going to place that one there, and also one of those on the bottom, and then just a regular light armor block like that. And then what we'll do is we'll grab a little corner piece like this. Okay, and actually these guns, they need to be this color. Well, they don't need to be, but I want them to be that color. So the only problem with this design is that you can kind of see that conveyor, that small conveyor there, but there's not really too much I can do about that, and I'm just going to have to kind of live with being able to see it. And then obviously on top of this block we got to put our camera. So what I'll do is I'll quickly weld all of this stuff, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so that is everything welded up. So now all I need to do from here is go in and withdraw the components for a camera, place our camera on, and then from there the blueprint is ready. So we'll place our camera down there like that, and let's get that welded up. Fantastic. Okay, so what I'll do now is I will create a blueprint of this. The only problem is it's going to create a blueprint of this entire thing, but that's okay because I only really need these blocks and I can just line it up however I want. So we'll hit Control B and then we will call this the ball turret 1, I guess. That'll do. And press OK on that. That was a little bit slow. Don't know what was going on there. And then what I can do from here is we can grab a projector. So let's grab ourselves a little projector here. Which way is this lined up? Alright, so I want to line it up like that most likely. Now I need myself a little control panel or a little button panel. No, I can't do that. I'll have to place down maybe something like... Can I place a button panel on the side of this? Oh, I can. Awesome. Alright, sweet. So let's find our little projector. Now the question is it named a max required input? It would be this one because it needs a lower input. So we'll rename this to our small projector. Then we'll find our blueprints and we'll go to our ball turret. And then we'll double click that. And multiple grids are not supported. Only the largest grid will be used. Okay. Huh? Oh, it's created a blueprint of the entire base. Alright, so let's alright, so we're gonna have to do this a little bit differently. So let's find our small projector. Let's remove that blueprint. And where's my weld chip? It's all the way up there, isn't it? Okay, so what I'm going to have to do now is we'll grab our little weld chip and then we'll jump in this thing. I'll unlock the landing gear and then we'll go down here and we'll actually pick this thing up with the landing gear. And then from there we should be able to create a blueprint of it. I don't think having the ship attached to it via a landing gear will cause it to create a blueprint of the ship as well. I highly doubt that's the case, although I have never really done any... Whoa, a little bit too ambitious with that one. Right, so let's pick this up. So we'll lock it down and hopefully Clang doesn't destroy my ship. And let's get rid of this block here. Okay, awesome. So now what I can do is create a blueprint of this. So then I will rename this to Ball Turret 1 and it will ask me if I want to overwrite it. Yes, I do. Okay, so now let's give this a go. So now what we can do is find our little projector. So small projector, and there we go. Blueprints, ball turrets. Double click on that. Much better. Okay, there we go. And now from here what we can do is we can just project it over to this side, weld one up, weld another one up next to that, weld another one up next to that, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. So I don't really have to sit there and weld up like 10 of these things. In fact, yeah, I think those blocks there should be fine. I was thinking maybe I need to remove these to attach the small grid, small head to that hinge up there, but I think it should be fine. So what I'm going to do is drag this one all the way up there. But first, before I do that, what I need to do is rename all of the guns and the rotors and things like that so that I know which one's which. Because like I said before when I was creating that one up there, you got to name all your guns, otherwise you kind of get confused. So I will do all of that off camera though, because yeah, it's going to be a little bit boring. But yeah, I thought it was important to show you guys how to do this because, well, it's a little bit tricky when you're doing things like this, and if you're doing it in survival, there's always ways in which you can make these things go a lot faster. And in fact, actually speaking about faster, we may have a problem here. I may have to spin this turret around because my ship's going to collide with that that turret there. So I didn't really think that one through very well, did I? But yeah, basically what we'll do is, well, first off, I actually need to grind out this little conveyor, or this hinge part here. I suppose what I could do, right, is we could find our rotor. So let's find our advanced rotor. So advanced rotor number 2 is the one at the back, and so this is our front. Let's do this now actually. So front gun rotor, and this one here is our rear gun rotor. So we'll rename that, and let's find our hinges. We might as well do these while they're here. So this one's detached, so this must be our rear gun hinge, and this one must be our front gun hinge because that is the only one with something attached to it. So let's find our rotor again, so the rear gun rotor, and let's reverse this thing, or let's get it to spin around so that it goes a full 180 degrees. So what I'll do is once it gets to about 180, I'll set it to about 0. So it doesn't really need to be perfect, I suppose, but yeah, close enough is good enough in this case. So wait for it to rotate. Come on. Alright, there we go. So 184 degrees, that's close enough. And then what I can do is I can drop this thing down and we can get this thing attached. So let us move this thing forward. And in fact, as I mentioned before, I really need to rename all of these autocannons and things like that before I actually go ahead and attach this. So let me quickly go ahead and do that, and then we can attach the rear gun. Okay, cool. So everything on this turret now is named. So when I go to attach this one, then I actually know which one is which in the menu. So then all we need to do is get this thing lined up. Let's drop it down about there. Let's try and get this thing straight. It looks like I am not really that straight though. So am I level? Not really. Alright, let's try and get this thing in as close as we can. You know what? I think that should be alright. Alright, so let's exit out of the ship and let's see if we can attach it now. So let's go and find our hinge. I know I did this in my tutorial, but this is not really the ideal way to do it. So then we attach, and alright, so let's go back into the ship and let's remove the landing gear lock, and now that thing is attached. So, and that's basically how I'm going to set all of these things up, because I think it's a much easier way to do it en masse. So now that that entire gun setup is all done, now all I need to do is replicate that another, how many of these turrets have I got? So I've got one up there, another 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, I need to do this entire setup another 4 times. So yeah, this is going to take me a while. So anyway guys, I'll do that off camera and then I'll be back once these are all done. And yeah, I really hope that they get that mod fixed soon so that I can start using these things to actually fire upon things. So yeah, that would be nice. But anyway guys, I will see you in a moment. Alright guys, welcome back. So we are about to attach the very last rotor turret. Well, hinge turret, hinge ball turret I should say. So let us go ahead and do that. And then after that, then everything else is done. So what I want is my rear gun hinge, and then we shall attach that. Fantastic. Alright, now I've already pre-named all of the guns on this particular turret because I felt like that was just an easier way to do it. So what I'm going to do here though is I'm just really going to land the ship on top of this gun here. I don't really need to land it on the voxels. It should be fine here for a moment. And the gun doesn't have idle movement, so all is good. Okay, so let me set this very last gun up and then I'll be back to explain the other things that I have done. Okay, so these two ball turrets are now set up and ready to go. So every one of these things is now complete. It has taken me for, I gotta say, probably about 3, maybe even 4 hours to get all of these turret installations done. But I mean, a lot of it is to do with these ball turrets. They do take an enormous amount of time to get right. Also the fact that I had to kind of grind all the old turrets away and then put these ones in, and then each trip I would have to go back to the base, and if I had access to a cargo container that was hooked up to the main conveyor system of the base, it would have probably taken me half that time. But anyway, so I was really wondering about how much ammunition to put in the small cargo container that kind of sits at the bottom of these installations. So basically what I've come up with is this. So if we have a look in the inventory here and we go into the small cargo container, so I've basically got 66 artillery shells. I know it says 62, but I've got 4 already sitting in the artillery turret itself. Now, it might not seem like a lot, but because the reload time of this thing is 12 seconds, and that's after you fire 2 shots, so you fire 2 shots, then it reloads for 12 seconds, then it fires another 2 shots. So really you divide 66 by 2. And anyway, it works out to be able to fire for about 6.5 minutes. So, if all of these installations haven't destroyed anything in 6.5 minutes, then there's something wrong. Then I kind of probably need to leave the planet or there's something seriously wrong. So I figured that's plenty of time. Also what I did is, if we go back into the small cargo container, you can see that the assault cannon shells, I put in 120 of these, which is essentially double what these are, and since they have half the reload time of the artillery shells, then they should also last about 6 to 6.5 minutes. Now, not sure what the consumption of autocannon magazines is for these things, because obviously we've got 6 guns on each little turret. But just for good measure, I decided to place in about 180 each of those things in every single one of these turret installations. So yeah, unfortunately it looks like the mod, the assertive installations mod is not working at this point in time. I have seen a few Reavers, and I was kind of tempted to test this stuff out and see what they can do against Reavers just by baiting them and turning on my antenna. But every time I had an opportunity to do that, I didn't actually have the ammunition loaded into these turret installations. So yeah, I mean, maybe we'll do that in the next episode. So anyway, the next episode, I think I want to continue on with this theme of upgrading the base with all the new blocks that were added into the game. I'm thinking maybe I can change this hangar door here. Maybe I can change the large reactors in the reactor room. I definitely want to change the batteries because I think that is a good block. And then maybe I can put in some hinges. Now, I am tempted to change up some of the weapons on the Atlas, and also, well, especially the Pilgrim, because I think now with these blocks I may actually be able to add some of these ball turrets in locations like this. I don't know how well it would go. In fact, let me have a look at one. Yeah, it may actually work out quite good, but I'm not sure how well that would work. So let me just try and place a hinge here. Yeah, I could actually place them on these corners here, but yeah, I guess I'll just have to kind of wait and see what happens with that. Maybe I can move these blocks here over there and then do that. But with the Atlas, I really want to test this thing in a creative world and change up the weapons and see what is most effective before I just go start slapping guns all over it. And yeah, the only other problem I really need to deal with is the fact that if we go into our large cargo, so base, large, you can see that I have an enormous surplus of Gatling ammo boxes at this point in time. So, yeah. I'm not sure if I need to keep Gatling guns around or if they're kind of obsolete with all the new weapons. But yeah, I guess we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get to it. The one thing I am kind of just a tiny touch disappointed. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm extremely happy with the Warfare 2 update overall, but the one thing I really wanted was new models for these Gatling guns, because they look so dated. So I hope that they do release new models for these. That would have been really awesome. But, you know, we did get a lot of really cool things in this update, so I honestly cannot complain. But yes, that is one thing that I'm hoping for. But anyway, guys, that is everything that I have planned for in this episode of Wasteland Survival, and I hope to see you in the next episode of Wasteland Survival. If you like this content, definitely leave a like and consider subscribing for more content. Alright guys, I will see you next time.